Hi folks, it's Switchback. Let's say that, like me, you live in the lower elevations in California, but you like to go to the higher elevations like Tahoe, Mammoth, Yosemite, or other places where there is snow, unlike at home. Now, winter driving conditions and preparations can be completely different than what you might be used to, but taking proper precautions can help with the unpredictable and unfamiliar. I've spent several winters living in the snow in the Sierra and in the Northeast. I learned a lot about driving in the snow and just plain winter snow travel, and I wanted to share that with you. Know your own personal limitations, your comfort level, and your skill level when it comes to driving in snow and ice. For example, Mountain Goat even has her Class A driver, but she would have me do the driving when we would be in the snow because she grew up on the coast and never really visited the snow or drove in the snow. And so it took her some time to build up that confidence and do some practicing before she was really comfortable doing the majority of the driving in the snow. Drive slower, follow at a longer distance because of course your stopping distance is a lot longer even with anti-lock brakes, which still work but still need more space. And be willing to pull over for faster vehicles. Be aware that traction does change frequently, whether you're going around a corner, you're in the sun, in the shade, a lot of different things change very fast. Keep your gas tank pretty full in case you do get stuck in a road closure. And I have been in a road closure more than once. So yeah, definitely important to have that gas to keep your engine running, you warm, and make sure that you can get out, okay? Make sure that your windshield washer fluid is topped off and the proper kind. There are ones for the summer and they're for warmer than freezing temperatures. And then there are ones that go down to at least 0. I'm sure that there are ones that go even colder in other climates. I keep mine topped off with 0 and above because even at home it gets into the teens, just never snows. But when there is spray up on your windshield as the snow is melting on the roads, it can be impossible to see. And if you have summer fluid in there, your lines will freeze. And I've been there and seen this happen, and it is terrifying. To that end, make sure that you have on good wiper blades. Stay alert for hazards like avalanches and other fallen objects and even other drivers because, again, you might be a rookie in the snow and they might be a rookie in the snow and ... When you're driving in the ice and you're starting to lose control, you're going to want to look where you want the car to go and you're going to want to steer where you want the car to go. So if the car is sliding this way and you want to go that way, go ahead and steer it that way. You're going to need to correct in the direction against which way you're sliding. You're also much more likely to have this happen in a front-wheel drive vehicle versus a rear-wheel drive vehicle. So just be mindful. If you're planning on going somewhere, be aware that some of the places you might be used to parking might be filled with snow. For example, I came back from my snowshoe trip last year and the parking lot had been completely full, so I had to park outside of the parking lot and got towed. Super fun. But parking lots and other like pullouts and stuff like that can end up getting full of snow and not be available in the wintertime. Also, there may be snow banks where obviously there aren't normally, and your GPS may not know that you can't make a left turn because there is a 7-foot tall snowbank there. So be mindful that when your directions are going certain ways, you may not be able to follow those. So stay flexible. Now, of course, snow plows are the ones that make those. Never, ever, ever pass a snow plow. And just don't ever do it. Please don't ever do it. Even though you're going slower than you might like to go, it is absolutely safer to be behind the snow plow than trying to go around it, which may cause you to get into a head-on collision for one, and put you into more dangerous conditions. Be aware that bridges will freeze before the roads do. And depending on the temperatures, of course, in the morning it might be frosty, the afternoon it might be slushy, and then as the temperatures drop again, it might get frosty and icy again. So be really mindful, and that ice might get patchy. And again, some of the areas that are in the sun are going to have more slush versus in the shade, they're going to be more icy. You just really have to be mindful that that traction really varies so much, and it's really important that you're paying attention. Avoid making quick movements because that will increase your risk of sliding where you don't want to be. Also, avoid pumping your brakes because that is not going to help you. Your anti-lock brakes do that for you. And that is old advice from before we had anti-lock brakes. Same with holding onto your steering wheel. Instead of 10 and 2, which is what was good when you didn't have power steering, 9 and 3 are what are actually going to be more helpful and give you better control when you're in the snow. And they'll be safer with your airbags. I really like to carry a pee device and a wag bag and toilet paper, especially again, if we get stuck somewhere and nature calls and there isn't exactly a toilet nearby. You want to be able to take care of business. Please pack out your business. Obviously you don't have to pack out your pee, but you have to pack out your poop and your toilet paper and your wipes and whatever else magical stuff you decided to use. Since we're talking about California and the Sierra, let's talk a little bit about chains. Chains are heavy, so I'm not going to sit here and hold them the whole time, but chains are not legal everywhere. So make sure that you know what is legal in the state that you are visiting. While they are not legal everywhere, they are required in some states like California. Anytime you're passing through an area that sometimes has chain controls, you are absolutely, by law, required to carry chains. And they will have highway patrol checkpoints to verify that you have yours, even if you almost never have to use them because you have four-wheel drive with snow tires, but we're going to get into that in a minute. I highly recommend that you download the Caltrans app, which is super incredibly helpful. It will go over all the chain controls and areas that you're headed. It will go over road closures and road construction and anything else that you need to know for safety. It updates the conditions from highway patrol, so it even includes accidents. And this is a great app, even in other seasons other than winter, when you're traveling within California. Now, if you don't necessarily want to use the app, you can always call Caltrans at 800-427-ROAD or 800-427-7623, which I've called a million times because I used to update road conditions for a ski resort in the Sierra. So part of my job was calling that number a zillion times a day. But you will need to know the names of the highways you're going to be taking and the names of the passes for the recommendations to make any sense for you. So if you don't know the difference between Carson Pass and Kit Carson Pass, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good. This is why I highly recommend the app. Make sure that you know what chain controls mean. So there's R1, R2, and R3. R1 means that you need to have four-wheel drive or snow tires, or you need to have chains. And snow tires are an actual standard, and your tire wall will say MS for mud and snow if it is an actual snow tire. Otherwise, you don't have snow tires and you need to put chains on your vehicle. R2 means four-wheel drive and snow tires or using chains. R3 means chains for everybody, but it's really rare to see R3. Usually if the roads are that bad, they will close the roads. If you do need to use chains, do not exceed 25 miles per hour. And this goes back to, again, if you are driving and you have chains on your vehicle and you're going slower than someone who has four-wheel drive with snow tires, please pull over and let them go by. Before you go on your trip, make sure that you buy your chains and you buy the correct size for your vehicle. Practice putting them on while you're at home, before your fingers are frozen, before you're on the side of the road, in much safer conditions so that you get that practice, because it does take some skill. If you are hoping to hire someone, there are those people in certain designated areas that will put on your tires. I don't know if you can pay card. Probably not. You'll want to carry some cash for this. Be sure to tip your person who's putting on your chains. There are only so many places that you can do this. And so there will be signs and they will have a badge number. Make sure that you write down their badge number before you leave. Anytime that you're putting on your chains, be sure to do so on the shoulder and where it is legal, because otherwise you are a hazard in the road. You are much more likely to get injured or injure someone else. If you are parking overnight, in addition to that traction for your vehicle, you're going to want traction for your feet. Ice gets slick and any kind of little hill will make you fall. I wish I knew that these existed when I lived in the Sierra 3 years ago. 24 years. Good Lord. Maybe they didn't exist then. I don't know. But I sure wish I'd had them when I was walking home from work all the time and sliding down the hill on my butt because my place was down the hill. Anyway, put your windshield wipers up overnight so that they don't freeze to your windshield. Carry an ice scraper, but take it with you when you get out for the night, because it doesn't do you a whole lot of good when you have to dig out your vehicle in order to access it. Make sure that you remove the snow around your doors before you open said doors. Otherwise, the snow will absolutely fall into your vehicle. I also recommend that you would kick your boots or your shoes on the side of your vehicle in order to get the mud and snow off of them before you get in and you have puddles all over inside of your vehicle. So circling back to if you get stopped in avalanche controls or road closures or whatnot, it's really important that you have supplies in your vehicle to keep you safe and entertained. In addition to what I carry year-round for road trips, I have a video about that up here, and I may be adding some of these to my year-round supplies. But I add extra food and water. Just be mindful that that water may very well freeze. Extra power banks, headlamps, flashlights, etc. Ways to provide heat, such as extra blankets, space blankets, hats, mittens, balaclavas, hand warmers, etc. Stuff to keep you entertained in the event of a road closure. You may very well not have cell service, so don't count on your cell phone. But, games, cards, books, things like that. Super sexy reflective vest, such as this one. Especially wise if you're going to need to put on chains, so make sure that it is large enough to go over your coat. It's always a good idea to have fire starting supplies, and someone told me that newspaper makes really good tire traction in wet snow, so that can be a good thing to carry as well. Now, if you're going to the snow to do some overnight camping, snowshoeing, cross-country ski backpacking, anything like that, then click here for this playlist of recommendations that I have for you. And if you want to see what vehicle prep I do when it's not wintertime, then check this one out. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe out there. Bye.